everyone. Thanks for joining.
Don't worry, I didn't post it. Oh, there were 3 viewers.
Okay.
Woohoo! 3 people.
All right,
That's
we'll go
actually
with
really
it.
good.
Let's just go with it.
All right.
It's launched.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us at EmpowHER VR, where we talk about virtual reality, neuroscience, UX, and all the coolest apps in virtual reality. So my name is Neilda. I'm the founder of EmpowHER VR, and I am here with Sarah Ticho, who is the founder of Hatsumi VR. It's an interactive therapeutic body mapping tool that explores trauma and mental health. So Sarah, can you tell us a little bit more about the app that you created and what inspired you to create it?
Sure. So last year I was a virtual reality curator at this mental health and interactive arts festival in Australia. And one of the people we were working with is this amazing organisation called the Black Dog Institute, which is like a mental health and mood disorders clinic. And they've been using this process called body mapping for a long time. It's a really undervalued arts and health research method that looks at how you can visualise emotional experiences and basically use it as a tool within the therapeutic process to really kind of understand people's experiences and give a voice to what's happened to you in a more creative way. So traditionally what you do is you get a giant piece of paper and you trace around your body and you can reflect on essentially any experience. They've done quite a few over time. There was one called Keeping the Body in Mind, where they looked at first time experiences of psychosis and like what does a psychotic episode look like? How can we ever really understand that? And people use sort of lots of different symbols and colours, and you know, it really gives you an opportunity to reflect on what was that experience like for me. Like, where do you feel that in your body? Because you know, our minds and bodies are very connected, and not in the spiritual sense. Like, it's a real experience. When you get nervous, you can feel hot. Like, often swirling in the stomach. That's been something that people have visualized a lot around anxiety. And so I just thought this was a really fantastic opportunity to translate this into virtual reality. So Hatsumi is essentially body mapping on steroids. And so you have a 3D body that you can scale to your height. And there's a sort of process before where you kind of mentally prepare yourself through almost like a guided meditation, and then you can just draw, you know, a certain experience. What does my anxiety look like? And you have all these different 3D painting tools. And then, yeah, so you create this body map, and then at the end, if you like, you can save it, keep it to yourself, or ultimately you can also upload it to what we're hoping to develop, which is like an online archive. And so there'll be different galleries of, for example, like depression or anxiety, or also positive experience as well. Like, what does joy look like? What do, you know, special moments in my life look like? So you can also explore other people's and perhaps get an understanding of other people's experiences as well.
I really like that, because I feel like for some people it's very hard to vocalize and express what they are feeling, but it's a different mindset when you actually have a pen and paper, or in our case, virtual reality experience in hand, drawing out the emotions and freely expressing that with no limitations.
Yeah, I think that's what really drew me to virtual reality, actually, because I love that you're in this like very private space, you know, like it kind of feels like no one's watching, and hopefully no one is sometimes.
No pressure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of removing all of this like cognitive load of, you know, the room that you're in your day. You are physically transported to somewhere else. And despite working in the arts for a really long time, I'm a terrible artist. And I've always been really frustrated with my inability to translate how I feel sometimes on the page. But using something like virtual reality and essentially digitizing the experience, then it can remove some of these artistic barriers. So, you know, I'm not guaranteeing you're going to make this incredible work of art per se, but being able to draw with like fire and electricity and having like unlimited access to colors, I think is hopefully one of the main draws of the experience.
What have you noticed with your experience of providing this exercise, the difference between users who use pen and paper to draw their feelings and emotions versus virtual reality?
Yeah, that's interesting. So I've done the pen and paper a few times before, and whilst I really like, nothing will ever replace like the tactile experience of like smearing paint across the page and having different colours available and different materials. I love, like I said, the unlimited access to materials, and I think being able to have a physical body that is your height as well, and we're currently experimenting with how you can connect with that further. So in future versions, then we want to have you literally tracing around your body and feeling a bit more connected to this sort of ambiguous avatar. With this experience as well, then you're also able to draw either directly onto the skin or inside the body, because with the traces that you do in 2D, then it's just the outline of the body. And so, if you want to show the other, keeping your body in mind.
Yeah, sure.
So with those, so these ones, then you can see that it's just the outline, but with this, then, like I said, you'll be able to go on the skin, inside the body, and outside the body as well. And then so as you explore your own or other people's, there are so many different dimensions to which you can explore it.
Got it. Well, since we have the experience here, why don't we give it? Why don't we take a look?
Sure.
I'm really excited to give it a shot.
So at the moment, we've just built a very basic prototype. So I have this wonderful developer called Charlie Zanneman who helped me build this in a day. Well, he built this in a day, and I kind of stood there and cheered him on. And we've also had like advice from a really wonderful hypnotherapist. I've also been speaking with the Stanford VR community about it and getting their feedback as well. So this is like the bare bones. This is the central experience that we'll be building a lot more on, and kind of improving the design experience. Let me just see what you can see. Okay, so this is the body. Again, we'll be replacing that with something a little more designed later on. But you'll be able to scale it to your size. I don't know if it's at the right height to you.
I believe this is a little shorter, but I think this would be a good height for me.
Cool. And then, so you'll see on the right then it has on the body or anywhere. So that enables you to either paint directly onto the skin. The plus or minus with the number in the middle is the size of your drawing tool.
Got it.
So Sarah has a question. She says, have you thought about giving it a skeleton and maybe muscle too? Muscle there?
I actually really want to avoid that because it's more about you can't feel your skeleton per se or muscles. This is more of like an artistic exploration. And so if you want to draw your muscles, then you're very welcome to do it, and we'll have like more materials available so you could draw that later on.
Would eventually, will you have a female avatar as well?
So I've been trying to find the most gender ambiguous avatar I could on the internet, and this is not great, sadly. But I think I would like to have options available in the future and being able to play with positions as well. But because this is much more focused on your experience and just kind of projecting this onto this blank canvas, I actually want the avatar to be as sort of neutral and ambiguous as possible, which gives you the chance to connect with it a little bit more. But yeah, right now it's obviously not ideal because this is a very male avatar still.
Got it.
She also mentions possibly organs to kind of
the heart
simulate, embodied cognition.
Yeah. Well, you can draw your heart in there, and again, like you have the ability to. This is a blank canvas for you to paint on it. So
here is my heart right here. I think it's more around this area, but.
So would you like? I'd be interested to see if you'd like to draw a specific experience that kind of resonates with you. Maybe something positive that you remember like very strongly, and maybe tell us a little bit
Yeah,
about
sure.
that story.
So I believe it was last month. My brother, it was his birthday, and we were on our way back home. And I asked him what he wanted to do after graduation, and he actually mentioned. So he's currently a junior right now. So as soon as he graduates, he's off in the real world. But when I asked him what he wanted to be, he actually mentioned me, or somewhere along the lines of what I've been doing throughout my career. And that actually made me feel, I guess, kind of like happy.
Is this what you're drawing here? Happiness?
Yeah, kind of like happy. It's more like, wow,
radiating.
I am like, this is really cool that he wanted to do things that are similar to me, and it did make me feel very warm inside. Like, this is my brother who's really looking up to me as a role model. But at the same time, I started feeling in my head, I guess, like a little bit of anxiety.
Yeah.
Realizing this is a lot of pressure.
Did you ever expect him to say something like this? Did it feel like it had kind of come out of the blue?
I thought he was just, I thought I was just providing him some guidance.
Yeah.
Where, he should direct his career, but I never really expected that he would want to be similar to me. So, of course, I did feel that knot inside my stomach, and I had to really think about what I want to do, making sure I, like, whatever I did, and kind of showed him what I did, I could help him become successful. So it's a mixture of feelings of anxiety and high expectations, and realizing that what I do is going to affect his life.
Do you feel like you've always been a role model for him, or was this like the first time that you'd had a conversation like this?
I guess because we were 9 years apart, it was very hard
Oh,
to
wow.
relate to him because of that age difference. So I felt like the best way that I could be his sister is be that role model. So, like, that role model equals anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. And so you said you felt this happiness. Do you often feel happiness radiating from your head? Is that the main place that you usually experience that in your body?
It's mostly around here, around this area, that I do feel that happiness and excitement.
Is that like inside your head, or almost like in the front of your
It's more of like
face, like a
in
mask?
the front of my face.
Mm.
And I guess around like my arms as well.
Is it like a heat or a texture, or?
I guess it is very similar to a heat that allows, like, when I get really excited, I get very, I like to use my body to express my excitement. So that's why I highlighted my arms in general. And then when I smile a lot when I'm super excited as well, so it does show off in that sense. But that's where I tend to feel it.
Yeah. And with anxiety as well, so you had this sort of green knot in your stomach.
Yes.
I find that so interesting actually, because when we did the sprint day where we kind of put together this demo in a day, then we made our own body maps just on little A4 piece of paper. It's not A4 in America. Anyway, small bits of paper, and every single person, because we were drawing anxiety, then everyone did green blobs like that in their stomach. No one looked at anyone's beforehand, but everyone had a green blob, which I thought was really interesting. So I love the idea of if people consent to uploading it to an archive, being able to notice these kind of interesting similarities. But with your anxiety, do you feel it in other parts of your body as well, or is it always kind of centered?
It's always around this area. This is where my anxiety is. So definitely my face, my head, and then in in my stomach that I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Lovely.
Cool.
And so we made a few other options in there as well because we were really interested in sort of movement-based textures as well. So you're able to change the size of your materials, so you can make them larger or smaller. And at the moment we only have one option, which is so you've got that. So this is kind of movement-based. I think that's changed back. Okay, so that's a slightly larger one. So they're all a bit wispy at the moment, but then we have a movement-based one that almost looks like these little fish swimming through. But at the moment we're kind of developing a list of like ideal materials that like people have requested. So we've had sandpaper as a sort of like rough texture, electricity.
I would like the electricity. I would describe my anxiety as electricity.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And do you feel like that's more inside your body or on your skin that you feel that?
When I get really anxious, I really feel it inside my body to the point where sometimes I will feel like I'm going to throw up. It depends on the extent of how nervous I am. But most of the time I manage to ground myself and have mind exercises to decrease that amount. So I'm able to go up on stage and give talks or join panels, but I still feel it inside.
Yeah.
Sarah has another question. Is this meant to be used only with a guided therapist, or will people be able to do this by themselves?
That's a really good question, actually. So at the moment, I'm developing it for like integration into existing therapies, because I think that facilitation is really important. And this is probably one of the best uses for it, is in that sort of therapeutic context, because it's really able to engage people in a conversation around their mental health. So a hypnotherapist in the mission has been helping with the development of this, and he already uses a similar method in his hypnotherapy where his patients will draw, symbols around like their specific issues, and then he'll use that as part of the process when in hypnosis or in subsequent discussions of like, oh, you kind of feel like these rocks are sort of coming at you, like what do they represent? But ultimately I would love to make a public version of this available, but there's much more research that needs to go into that first. So we're going to do clinical trials once we have a full version of this available, and also what we want to do is make sure that the whole preparation of leading someone into the experience, creating that experience, and then kind of offboarding is really considered, and the psychological safety of the person developing it as well, because especially when you're reflecting on difficult experiences, your first ever psychotic episode, then that can be really troubling. So we want to make sure that there's always sort of ways of connecting you to help. So we want to develop more therapeutic partnerships to make sure that people do get the help they need. So down the line there will be a public version available, but I think making baby steps, like having clinical testing to and like trials to prove like the efficacy of this, and kind of working with clinical therapists, because I feel like that's where it can have the most impact, and then later down the line then making it available for the public.
Got it. That's really great.
Thanks. I'll get to that in just a second. But one of the other ambitions of this as well is, because I've been working in the arts for a really long time, I'm really interested in different ways of engaging the public around like mental health specifically. So again, way down the line, but I love the idea of kind of touring this to obviously film festivals and arts festivals as well, and having a way of being able to translate these artworks into real life. So I've been speaking to someone about ways that we could perhaps 3D print some of them, or get sculptures and then almost projection map different body maps onto it, and just really kind of driving home like emotions are real, like our experiences are real, and whilst we can't always see them, and sometimes expressing them can be really difficult, like how can we really drive home like the reality of people's experiences, and and show that to people who make decisions about this as well. Like, who are the policymakers that, you know, make decisions about the mental health of, you know, the nation or whatever, and just really kind of communicating in a visual way, I think, can be quite powerful. So another example of a body map that we made during this demo a while ago was someone who I met last week as well. So he drew this beautiful body map of the experience of his daughter being and they were talking about social anxiety in VR and the fact that it's like this really perhaps find it difficult to socialize in real life, and things like hikikomori in Japan, which is like young people that just don't leave the house because they just find it too terrifying. And technology's been like this amazing tool for you know, almost having this halfway house of being able to connect with people. And so, yeah, we were talking about the idea of being able to wear your body map in a sort of chat room or something, and being able to kind of visualize your emotions with people. And I think also having like positive body maps are really important as well, being able to visualize, you know, like you at your best and who you want to be, and being able to wear that, I think could have a really powerful impact, especially on people that often don't feel that way, which is all of us, I reckon.
Yeah.
At different points.
Do we have any other questions?
No, she's
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
Let me see. I think I think I'm good for now. But like, it's really thank you so much for showing us this application and where you want to see it go in general. I think that this is going to be an incredible tool.
Thank you.
Especially bringing people back from technology to humanity.
Oh,
and having
thank
them feel
you.
again.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And yeah, I love it because, you know, this isn't original. I haven't really come up with anything new. It's something that's already been proven to be really useful, and it's just translating it in a new way. So yeah, I'm really excited to see where it goes, and yeah, it's been great kind of working with people like the Black Dog Institute, and yeah, like I said, Stanford are really interested in integrating it into their therapies and seeing like the different applications. I think it's really great. Someone at Stanford works with people with functional neurological disorders, where they find it difficult to discern between physical pain and emotional pain. Like it's almost experienced similarly. So there are so many different uses of it, and yeah, being able to visualize those in VR could be really helpful. So we'll see where it goes.
Is there anyone on your wish list of who you want to connect with to help make your app more amazing than it is?
As in specific organizations, or
yeah, it could be specific organizations or different types of people that you'd like to get in touch with.
Yeah, gosh, the list is endless. I mean, I'd love to work with Google, obviously, because Tiltbrush like made me want to be in VR. Like, do you remember your first experience of Tiltbrush?
A Tiltbrush, yes, yes, I do remember. It was actually at Upload VR a while ago, a few years, actually. Probably last year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Got a chance to just play with all the tools and all the apps that they had in there.
Yeah. Isn't it just like a magical experience?
It's
like
amazing.
if anyone's not used VR, I'm just prescribing you this. Like, just go find it.
It's more than a blank canvas. It's a blank space. So there's I tend to be a very perfectionist type of person. So just seeing the blank space for the very first time and realizing that, okay, let me just draw a line.
Yeah. and being able to undo it as well. And just being like, maybe. Yeah.
Exactly.
So so I'd love to work with Google. I think they've absolutely nailed it with Tiltbrush, and like I said, this is an early model, so it doesn't come close to what they're doing. But I think being able to work with them and really augment their existing experience, and being able to kind of put this packaging around it so that there is a sort of onboarding experience and offboarding. And like I said, I think the sharing of it is the part that I'm almost most excited about, and being able to create almost like this sensory ethnography of human emotion, and having that as like perhaps even a research method in the future to understand human emotion. Like, what are the things that we have in common? Does like culture influence that? Like,
I'm sure culture will influence it, or at least that's what I think. So being able to have almost like this terracotta army of emotion, and then being able to like analyze it and explore other people's, and I think will be really interesting. That's great. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us. Do we have any other questions? Here is her contact information if you'd like to reach out to her. She also has a website, hatsumivr.com. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for EmpowHER VR.
Oh, thanks, Neilda.
You're very welcome.